Meet Roch Thériault, a name synonymous with horror and control. Born on May 16, 1947, Theriault became infamous as a Canadian cult leader and convicted murderer. Under the guise of a prophet named Moise, he founded the notorious Ant Hill Kids in 1977, a doomsday cult rooted in twisted interpretations of Seventh-day Adventist beliefs. By April 1978, Theriault had been expelled from the Seventh-day Adventist Church, but this only marked the beginning of his dark reign. Within his commune, he established a brutal regime, claiming multiple wives and concubines, and fathering 26 children. His followers, including 12 adults and 22 children, lived under his totalitarian rule, enduring severe physical and sexual abuse. In 1989, the nightmare began to unravel when Theriault was arrested for assault, leading to the cult's dissolution. By 1993, he was convicted of the gruesome murder of one of his followers, Solange Boilard. Theriault's crimes didn't stop there. He was responsible for the death of an infant, Samuel Giguère, and the fatal homeopathic treatments that killed disciples Geraldine Gagné-Auclair and Gabrielle Nadeau. Sentenced to life in prison, Theriault met a violent end in 2011 at Dorchester Penitentiary. Roch Thériault's name stands alongside other infamous Canadian criminals like Robert Pickton, Clifford Olson, and Paul Bernardo, marking him as one of the country's most notorious figures since the 1980s. Roch Thériault was born on May 16, 1947, into a French-Canadian family in the mining town of Thetford Mines. From a young age, Theriault showed remarkable intelligence, but his life took a dark turn when he dropped out of school in the 7th grade to immerse himself in the teachings of the Old Testament. Convinced that the end of the world was imminent, Theriault saw a looming battle between good and evil. In January 1977, he converted from Catholicism to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, embracing its holistic beliefs that promoted a healthy lifestyle free from unhealthy foods and tobacco. But Theriault's newfound faith was only the beginning of a journey that would lead him down a path of manipulation, control, and unimaginable horror. In the mid-1970s, Roch Thériault, a man with a mesmerizing charisma, convinced a group of people to abandon their jobs and homes to follow him in a new religious movement. By 1977, in Sainte-Marie, Quebec, Theriault had officially formed a cult with the vision of creating a utopian commune. He promised a life of unity, equality, and freedom from sin, drawing his followers in with compelling motivational speeches. But Theriault's idea of freedom meant complete isolation. He cut off his followers from their families and the Seventh-day Adventist Church, enforcing strict loyalty to his cult's values. His paranoia grew, fueled by a belief that the world would end in February 1979. In a bid to prepare for the impending apocalypse, Theriault moved his commune to a remote mountainside he named Eternal Mountain in the Gaspé Peninsula, a desolate area he claimed would be their salvation. There, while his followers toiled to build their new home, Theriault watched from the sidelines, likening them to ants in an ant hill, a metaphor that gave birth to the cult's name, the Ant Hill Kids. When the prophesied apocalypse didn't occur in 1979, skepticism grew among his followers. Theriault, however, insisted it was merely a miscalculation, attributing it to the differences between earthly time and God's time. To strengthen his grip and expand the commune, Theriault married and impregnated all the women, fathering over 20 children with 9 female members. By the 1980s, the commune had nearly 40 members, all wearing identical tunics to symbolize their devotion and supposed equality. In 1984, seeking more isolation, Theriault relocated the group to a remote site near Burnt River in central Ontario, now part of the city of Kawartha Lakes. After starting the cult, Theriault changed. His drinking got worse, and he became controlling and irrational. Members couldn't talk or have sex without his say. Despite his bad behavior, his charm kept everyone quiet. He punished those who disobeyed, saying he knew everything because God told him. If someone wanted to leave, Theriault would hurt them with a belt or hammer, hang them from the ceiling, pluck out their body hairs one by one, or even defecate on them. They made money by selling baked goods, and those who didn't earn enough were punished too. Theriault's punishments got worse, like making members break their own legs with hammers, sit on hot stoves, shoot each other, and eat gross stuff. Sometimes they'd even have to cut off each other's toes to show they were loyal. The abuse extended to the cult's children. One of Theriault's wives left a newborn baby, Eleazar Lavallee, outside to freeze to death to protect him from abuse. Theriault tried to go back to the original religious goals of the group, thinking he could purify his followers by whipping and beating them while they were naked. Theriault proclaimed himself as divine and began conducting crude surgical procedures on ill members to showcase his supposed healing abilities. These procedures ranged from injecting a highly concentrated ethanol solution into stomachs to performing circumcisions on both children and adults within the group. In 1987, social workers intervened and removed 17 children from the commune. Shockingly, Theriault faced no consequences for his abusive actions. In 1989, when follower Solange Boilard complained of stomach troubles, Theriault conducted yet another unprofessional surgery, this time without anesthesia. He cut open her abdomen with a knife and ripped out part of her intestines with his bare hands. Theriault instructed another member, Gabrielle Lavallee, to sew up the wound using needle and thread. Additionally, he directed other women to insert a tube down her throat and blow through it. Boilard died the next day from the damage inflicted by the procedures. Claiming to possess the power of resurrection, Theriault instructed his followers to saw off the cap of Boilard's skull. When Boilard did not revive, her body was buried near the Ant Hill Kids commune. Gabrielle Lavallee endured horrific treatment at the Ontario commune during the late 1980s. Theriault inflicted unimaginable pain upon her, leaving her with welding torch burns to her genitals, a broken hypodermic needle lodged in her back, and 8 of her teeth forcibly removed. Desperate to escape, Lavallee fled after Theriault had cut off parts of her breast and smashed her head with the blunt side of an axe. However, upon her return, she faced even more brutal punishment. Theriault removed one of her fingers with wire cutters, pinned her hand to a wooden table with a hunting knife, and used a cleaver to amputate her arm. In 1989, Lavallee's bravery led to Theriault's downfall. She fled the commune again and contacted authorities, leading to Theriault's arrest for assault and the dissolution of the Ant Hill Kids. Provincial authorities had long suspected Theriault's cult due to their primitive living conditions. However, since the commune was officially registered as a church, officials were limited in their ability to investigate the adults and could only ensure the welfare of the children. Theriault was found guilty of assault for amputating Lavallee's arm and received a 12-year prison sentence. The majority of the cult's followers abandoned him after his arrest. Even in prison, Theriault's control persisted. He fathered 4 more children with remaining female members during conjugal visits. Lavallee's report triggered a deeper investigation into Theriault's actions, exposing the wider abuses and the murder of Solange Boilard. In 1993, Theriault pleaded guilty to second-degree murder for Boilard's death and was sentenced to life imprisonment. In 2000, he was transferred to Dorchester Penitentiary in New Brunswick. In 2002, his parole request was denied as he was deemed too high a risk to reoffend, and he never applied again. On February 26, 2011, at the age of 63, Roch Thériault was found dead near his cell at Dorchester Penitentiary. His death was the result of a violent altercation with his cellmate, Matthew Gerard MacDonald. MacDonald, a 60-year-old convicted murderer from Port-au-Port, Newfoundland and Labrador, was charged with the killing. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and received a life sentence, on top of the one he was already serving. MacDonald had brutally stabbed Theriault in the neck with a shiv, then calmly walked to the guards' station, handed them the weapon, and declared, "That piece of shit is down on the range. Here's the knife, I've sliced him up." The shocking story of Roch Thériault and his heinous crimes against his followers was depicted in the 2002 film Savage Messiah. For a first-hand account, Gabrielle Lavallee, one of Theriault's surviving victims, wrote a memoir titled L'Alliance de la Brebis.